What's happening? What's up? I think we're about to record a classic here in a second. I'm waiting on my co-host to join me. We got an interesting topic for this week, so I'm excited about that. We got a topic of mostly sex positivity this week, so I wanted to get somebody that's a professional, somebody that can give some good perspective. Had to change some things up today, so I'm recording on the fly, uh, not in the studio. But most importantly, we're gonna get joined by my co-host, Miss Syren. Give me 1 minute so I can just guide her in there. All right, we got Syren live on the line. What's happening?
Hey, how you doing?
Man, I'm blessed. Sorry I had to change things up a little bit. So I'm mobile. Um, so I had to jump in the mobile studio. That's the only difference. Well, right now I had a little change
I
in plan.
understand.
Absolutely. But let me introduce you to anybody who doesn't know you. You're a podcaster. You have awesome mindset, a very open mind, and I'm excited because I think I'll learn a few things today. But Syren, let me introduce you to Modern Black Man Podcast.
All right, I'm excited.
Yeah. So, like I said, a very open mind, creative mind, and I want to dive in and talk about some of the interesting things in the world of sex positivity. As somebody who podcasts and is, I'm assuming, pretty active in the lifestyle. What's really going down right now? I'm boring. I'm like, yeah, I got to sharpen my
I don't
tools
believe that.
up.
I really
True.
don't believe that.
Absolutely. But what do you think is trending out here in these streets right now? Like, I know that we had kind of talked about a few things that we might, a few topic areas we might get into.
Mm.
What do you think the major trend is? For me, I'll tell you, I noticed a lot of polyamorous talk, a lot
I was
of
gonna say that, but I was
yeah.
gonna say fake poly.
Well, okay, and that's what I feel about it too. I've recorded shows in the past, and obviously I'm always on shows. That's a huge topic right now. Is the polygamy thing? I think people get concubine confused with wife, and it just leads to
Okay,
a pretty.
pause. Because I was on a fan base room and they were talking about, and sorry, y'all, I do not know how to do lashes. I was trying to be cute, but my bad. I'm very real. They did not come out good. So if you see me messing my lash, that's why. I was in a clubhouse room and I heard that, and I was like, cop, like how, like why this old definition? And then they didn't even talk about polyandry.
Okay, I think you're talking about room I might have been on too. They use the Oxford
Oh,
Dictionary definition of polygamy, and
that's
it
what it
says a
was.
polyamorous society, which the United States is, which Muslim cultures are, which you can think of a few standards, 10 to 12 that exist today.
Hmm.
But it's the way that we date. We no longer date for one partner for a lifetime.
But see,
Um,
that's what confused me because I spoke in that room and I don't agree because I'll use my personal background. I was dating
mhm.
someone who was poly, and at the
Yeah,
like people you saw, I'm like you borderline like remind me of a poly person. I'm like nah. And I mean up until now that I've done more research and looked at it,
yeah.
maybe I still don't identify as that. However, when you're regularly dating, just because you date multiple people, you might not be poly. I mean, again, you can't just out the gate fixate on one person and that's it. You haven't tested the waters.
Well, what was I defining? What M word? Monogamy?
Hmm.
Where you mate with one person for life. is where you have one partner. You don't get to date multiple people. But there's nothing wrong with that because that's where the conversation gets exciting, right? We talk about how it's evolved. We are
But see,
a
this also
poly.
gets into like in this, and I know like I don't know about your age bracket, but for me, I always tell people, I feel like at least in my generation, dating has changed because now it's like out the gate when you say I'm dating, people are like, "Oh, you're dating, you're in a relationship." Like, no, we're dating, we're getting to know each other. Like, we're not just in a relationship yet. We're like, hold on.
But that's the phase that you're in, which is awesome, right? I
Mm-hmm.
want to talk about that a little bit. When you're dating, you're sampling, you're choosing, and you don't want to be tied down with anyone, and your approach of it is very open about that. And I think that's where a lot of these conversations are less than productive because people listen for what they want to hear. They don't
Yeah.
actually want to have the conversation. Um, so like I said, let's talk about this. In your dating trend, in your dating culture, you are open to dating multiple people. After what point do you decide to be? I don't want to say monogamous. Let's say committed.
So I personally, for me, okay, like even right now, I'm dating one person, but again, we're not in an official relationship, so I might meet somebody else and I might hang out with them. But if I'm not feeling them, I'm feeling this other person more, then maybe I settle down and be in a committed relationship with them. That's why I'm saying for me nowadays, I feel like poly is so overused. And
Yeah.
it's nothing wrong with people exploring poly at all, but I feel like for me, I don't like associating dating like because dating multiple partners because when you're in poly it's non-ethical. I mean, it's ethical non-monogamy. So if you are in a committed relationship, say like me and you are in a committed relationship, if I have an
Hmm.
outside partner, they're gonna know that me and you are dating, and me and them are now not dating, well, or me and them are dating, and we might end up in a
A
committed
great point.
relationship.
A great point. And that's how people see. I think that's how the world is now polyamorous. Is because more or less we all have a heartthrob. We all have a person that dominates our heart, and we could
So wait,
call
you think
ourselves.
everybody is poly?
Well, I kind of understand where the definition has evolved, and I
Hmm.
do see the world as poly because of the definition. Um, that's where people don't intellectually dig in. But
Hmm.
we were meant to have one partner for life. It doesn't mean the first person that you meet, but it
Right.
means that you get with someone and you get that one person and you move forward. And intellectually, I don't think people really absorb that. And there's a lot of different echoes in my mind that lead to that. Think about it. Back once upon a time, the only people you saw were in a 5, 10, 15-mile radius. Real talk, right? That's
Hmm.
all you saw was maybe one to however many people you find attractive, but in that short of a radius. Now we have the ability to connect with someone in an instant. I see women where I'm at, where I've been, where I'm going, and places I ain't been.
That's true.
So you know what I mean? The options are a lot thicker, which is for me as a man. If I commit to a woman and I'm in a relationship, I've won a lot from that relationship. But that's neither here nor there. I was just kind of painting the monogamy picture. You get
Hmm.
one shot. You can't give that love, commitment, or attention to everybody. And because the way our culture has shifted, we do that. You don't put your worst foot forward with anybody you date, do you?
No, even though I have a little tidbit on that, but let me stay on topic.
Uh-huh.
But no, I get what you're saying. Have you ever read there's a book called Sex at Dawn?
No, I have not read Sex at Dawn.
So
Who
Sex
writes
at
that?
Dawn is it's a good book. It explores the history of kind of polyamory. Now I won't lie, I kind of had to not read the book with some bias, but the book is biased because it is arguing for polygamy. Personally, for me, I don't like to argue that everybody is polygamous simply because even if you look at nature with mammals, there are mammals who are monogamous. So I personally do feel like we do have people who are just into monogamous relationships, and that's okay. They might
I
change.
want to
They
covet something. I want to have one thing, and I want it to be all things to me. I really,
mm,
really want this, pray for this, and try for this. I'm not saying it's hard, but when you have one person, that's your only option, that's your only outlet, and that's your only fascination, right? That's as
mm.
deep as your desire can get, as attractive as your partner is. If we're being honest at the end of the day.
What if
Um,
they're swingers? I just had to throw that
see,
out there.
no, 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 exactly. And people now, maybe they're being more real with themselves and honest, and these lifestyles are more prevalent. I truly, the way my sexuality even works, I get that way. Because I mean, you could, you could put a wig on, you could put an
Mm.
outfit, like you can do things to get deeper with your one partner and make it interesting, spicy, hot, or whatever. But you said, what if you're swingers? Or you could just go out there and get a new flavor and sample and choose together, which I think is, you know, a wonderful thing in and of itself.
If it works
I
for
just
you,
don't like to
though, I
share.
always have to throw that out
Yeah,
there.
if it works for you. I just don't like to share because, like I said, where I really get off is having mine and
Mm.
mine being unavailable. Because that's a hard for a man. That's a lot to digest. You're not allowed
Sadly.
to say anything else. You can't have any more women. They are off limits. They are forbidden. And it is
But see,
a head thrower.
that brings me to like I said with the fan base room. And I mean,
Yeah,
again, I just was surprised because it was just a conversation in general about poly, and they were using, concubine and things like that. Even though I have not heard that word in a long time.
but
But
that's what people are looking for, and I think that's what men
but
admittedly
that's
are
not.
looking for.
But I think what gets me is, and I don't know if you have any poly friends. That's not the modern day poly. Like for me, I always tell
That's
people
not it at all.
no,
That's
and
not
I
it at
tell
all.
people for me, poly scared me for a long time because even when I was younger, I remember I dated a guy and he was a hotep. But the only definition I ever got of poly was that it was so male centered. And there's nothing wrong if you're interested in that, but there are more versions. There's what is it? I poly. Um there's solo poly. There's different polys, and there are women. Like I have a friend who's married, and her husband they do the round table tabletop poly. I always get the name wrong, but they both date other people. So I mean, there's different
I
versions, but I always hear this male center, or when I see it like on Instagram, there's a black poly hive, and every picture and meme you see is always a man with multiple women. Like if you're educating people, give them every version.
well, polygamy is when it's men, and what is it when it's women at the helm? I forget.
Polyandry.
Polyandry. Uh, so, can we talk about some examples of positive polyandrous situations? Positive polyandrous people. Because a woman with multiple men seems so tumultuous. It seems controversial, but
Yeah,
yeah,
but why?
I think we don't trust women in their sexuality.
Which is horrible. I mean, I know
It's not,
society is like that.
it's not honest. Like if a man has multiple women, think about how many religions there are with men at the helm where they have multiple wives. A woman doing it,
But there
she's a
are societies
Jezebel.
that polyandry was a thing. I mean, offhand right
Talk
now, I don't
about it.
have it, but
Okay.
there were societies where polyandry was a thing.
Yeah.
Were activities. I mean, back in like if you read Sex at Dawn, like I implore you, and anybody who watches Sex at Dawn, The Ethical Slut, those are great books. Sex at Dawn has a counter argument book called Sex at Midnight, if you're
Mm.
interested in that. But those dive into societies and in history about polygamy, polyandry. Um, so just for reference. But like you said, I feel like society, and again, that's why I said for me, I'm getting so tired of hearing people say poly because I feel like now it's just overused, and I don't feel like people are doing the shadow work to really see if that is for them. They're just running
Mm.
with the word. Like for example, you have somebody who
That's
just
a lot. That's a lot to unpack. You're saying a lot of good stuff. Like people are being misled by the semantics of polygamy, so they get into any situation or situationship where there's multiple people involved, but they're not really getting the benefit maybe they deserve. Is that like
no.
Is it? You think that's abuse? I think that's interesting. Is that group abuse? Is one thing that I always think about with the situation. If you have multiple people in your relationship, relationships go bad. What if two of them gang up on one, or three gang up?
And see,
You know what
those
I
are
mean?
things, and that's why I don't like I said, to me, it's an over marketing. And in no way, like I said, I'm not against poly at all. It's something that I am currently exploring. And I mean, I'm currently seeing if it is for me. But I feel like you have, like I said, it's all over. It's all over Instagram and Twitter. And like I've heard people like, well, I want to just, I've been cheating on my boyfriend. I've been cheating on my girlfriend. But I mean, it's okay because I'm poly. That's not poly because, like I said, it's
Yeah,
ethical non-monogamy. All parties know what is going on. Now, no, like you said, but those are the discussions that need to be had. And I always hear people say, oh, well, poly is so easy because you can just do whatever you want, and that's not the case. I've
it's
talked to
not.
poly people who say it's a lot of work.
But I think it's interesting because intellectually or socially, that's what we're evolving to. I don't think it will be like the dominant trend, but it may be. But it'll grow. If you look at people now, there's a significant amount of people that are single and unmarried. Like there's more people that are unmarried now than any point in history.
And I think, and
Not
I think,
only,
I think that's for a variety of reasons.
mm,
But
yeah, I mean, it actually that's what's going on, and birth rates are declining, right? And 40 years ago, you would slap
listen,
all this
kids are expensive.
morality on it, right? Well, 40 years ago, you would slap all this morality on it, and I think 20 or 30 years ago, there was another stigma that I'd like to kind of segue into about black men being poor fathers.
Hmm.
Uh, Black men are less than 50% of black men, or around 50%, if it's not more, are single without kids. And I know that the black men I know that have kids are all good fathers. It's like the deadbeat dad thing kind of went away. It's like we all had deadbeat dads, and
Right.
everybody kind of came through when it was their turn. So I think that's another interesting phenomenon that has to factor in to this new sexuality. It is what it is. I think it's cool that there are more options now than there have been before. But we've got to manage all these options, or at least these options will manage themselves. So,
Yeah.
what about this? What about a situation where there's two men uh, and five women? Like a village. That's still polygamy, right? That's still polyandry.
So 2 men and 5 women.
Yeah,
So like I said,
they're a family.
then they're a family. I mean, however it works. I mean, like I said, in Sex and Dawn, for example, like you look back in history, and like again, not every society, because I hate arguing with people who say, well, all societies in Africa and all this stuff. Like, not every society worked like this, but back in the
We
day in history,
concubines. We
huh?
had concubines. When people try to do the whole African prince, multiple wives, it's like, I mean, there are instances of it all, but for the
Yeah,
most part, even when you look into the Bible, David, the ones that you just have sex with and you thrash and you have threesomes and do all the naughty things with, those are called concubines. Those are not your wives.
I, I
You know
hate
what I
that word.
mean?
But see, that's why I said
And
poly has
people
evolved from
want it.
that
Yeah.
primitive phase. And even, but like, for example, in history, looking back, like I said, in Sex and Dawn, you can read about this. But of course, in societies, they shared everything because I mean, again, if I'm a wife and I'm watching the kids, okay, my two husbands might need to go out and hunt. I need to go. Me and my sister wife gonna cook, like things like that. So I mean, again, like I hate when people say, "Well, that's what they did." They weren't really always doing that out of love and relationships. They did it more so for survival. And I mean, of course, they had some sex, but you know,
Well, that's what I want to. Another thing I want to talk about. I'll talk about fuckboy hotep, and then I'm gonna
whew,
have you to define a hotep.
define a
But
hotel.
yeah, what it's supposed to be, right? Because a lot of people they want to have a fantasy or an indulgence, which I am not condemning. Do your thing, but it's nice to have a threesome if you have someone to assist your woman, but calling everyone a wife, a sister wife, another woman, even a
Yes,
girlfriend is where it goes wrong. So I think that there is no place in education because this is quite practical. This is probably why public schools don't teach about taxes and several other things that are practical to our lives.
Wait
With
a
that
minute,
being
hold on. I
said,
don't know about you, but I took a financial literacy class in high school, so
yeah,
I learned about taxes.
good. And I mean, that's the stuff that we need. And I think that, again, things are evolving. I'm sure your sex ed courses weren't just about STIs. There was something about pleasure and or maintenance there, right?
No, no. So when I was growing up, so when I first took sex ed, I was actually at a private school for all girls.
Ah,
Now it was interesting because I had a nun teach my class, but she was a bad nun, so she did talk about the dirty stuff, as she would call it. So she did go into
okay.
a little bit of pleasure. But I will never forget, we had some guest speakers come in, and there was a couple, and I will never forget them. They compared sex to a fish fillet from McDonald's. Yes, yes. I don't even want to. But it was this white couple, this young
Okay.
couple, and the girl. Lord, if I met this girl now, she would be so disappointed in my life. But
We
this
we
girl,
told the fish stick joke, but they was actually talking about fish sticks in your class.
yeah, yeah. Listen, it was a horrible experience. Okay, like the girl was talking about how she started having sex and it destroyed her life, and she wanted to die about it. And then she became pure and met her husband, and life was perfect. Girl, go to hell.
So that's how she was able to grow her brand, and she was sharing that story with you,
Oh
young
yeah, because you
lady.
know they was making money off of this.
Uh huh.
And I just personally, for me, being an older adult now, I don't believe in I just don't believe in teaching at, like, once the kids get to high school. I don't believe in the abstinent teaching being the just the be all the end all. Like, you need to teach older children, especially nowadays, about how to stay safe. Because I mean,
That's a real cause, and I mean, I think it does happen somewhat in higher education when kids go to
yeah,
college.
of course, when you get to a certain point now, I don't want, of
Yeah,
course, like the younger kids are supposed to that,
but
but I
but the
mean,
community matters, and I'm with you where the community at large needs to be informed and edified and armed with not just
because it
better
doesn't, it has been
information but
proven
resources.
not to work. It's been proven not to work. It doesn't work.
It at all.
You're not
At
giving
all.
people the resources. So then when guess what? Johnny and Susie went out and tried having sex, and now I don't know, somebody got exposed to an STI, or somebody got a potential pregnancy. You're not giving them the education, the resources on how to properly handle this and how to go to an adult and not feel judged to speak about this or to seek help from an older adult who can send them to the right direction. Instead, you're shaming, like, no, 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 sex will ruin your life. Like, come on now.
Right.
And we all know who teaching it. Like I said, old girl said she was out for the streets. So
But
she know damn
there's
well
an
that wasn't
element
working
of
for her.
power with that too.
Huh?
Like you said, there's an element of power with that too, controlling the narrative.
Yeah,
Uh, so I mean, we need to do anything that we can to try to dismantle that, or at least shed light on that, so people can be not just better informed, but like you said, arm with resources. Because when the community has the resources that it needs, that's when success happens for all. That's when,
exactly.
yeah,
And especially, I feel like in the black community too, just, I mean, I know for men it's different, but at least for women, a lot of shame, a lot of the, oh, you gonna be fast, or I feel like it made young women, girls, scared to talk to older women and adults about certain things revolving around sex. And I feel like it made a lot of us shameful as we got older. But I don't know why, because again, we know dang well mama, daddy, auntie, cousin, all them older than us was getting it on. So
they had to do it for us to get here. But have
exactly.
you noticed the hesitancy of our generation before us, many and
I'm
multiple,
sorry, say that
to
again. Have
share
I
the
heard the what?
information, the game that we need? How hesitant, how slow older generation is to share important information with the real game. Shaming us is easy, but gaming us is difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're talking about, I think the younger people, um, they share at a different rate and they learn from each other. I think that
Yeah,
once upon a time we learned from our elders, but now the babies are teaching the babies. Uh, and the sexuality portion is where they usually do it early. Uh, and the information trending is showing us that they're doing it younger and younger, obviously, right? Like every generation. Why do you think that is?
the internet.
I mean, it's something they're better at it than we were because young
Oh, you
guys
mean like on a
now,
positive note?
It is
educating.
positive. I think some of it's positive because something
Some
that
of it's
bothers me.
positive, some of it's negative. I feel like the internet has gone two ways. I like the internet as a tool because it does let us connect and educate each other. On a negative, it does kind of expose, it can expose, especially younger minds, to a lot.
Yeah,
But again, I also implore, like I say, like I tell parents all the time, the celebrities and all these people are not responsible for watching your kids and raising them. You need to watch them and monitor what they're using. So there's that part. But I really feel like as a whole, like I said, I feel like a lot of us are like realizing and looking back at our elders, and like you said, realizing that the shame tactics don't work. Yeah, that's the easy part, but hey, guess what? If the information is not out here, we can't evolve and grow. And I feel like nowadays things are not as taboo anymore. Like you said, we have poly, we have people being more open about their sexuality. We know a lot. We have a lot more information at the tip of our fingers. And I feel like a lot of people are just open to share more because we know how it feels. Like I said, I can go back and not maybe my immediate mom, but like people around, oh, you gonna be fast. Oh, your body's shaped like this. I mean, I tell people on my podcast, there's certain things I wish I would have known before, you know, I tried certain things in my life. And I wish I wasn't like, I didn't feel the shame to talk to somebody else about it. So I don't
right.
know if the
And I
answer
think
made
you
sense.
have the power. You're using your power positively.
Yeah.
You know,
You have, I mean, I know, like I said, for me, there are certain, like I said, like, especially with the sex positivity and things, if no one speaks about it at all, it's always going to stay taboo or in the closet. But if somebody opens their mouth, then it's out there. We can all talk about it. You feel more comfortable. Like I said, I always used to feel like a weirdo, but I realized that there's more weirdos than just me.
sure. And now obviously you know intellectually that's not true, but that's a strength. Yeah. All I was gonna say on listening to all that was how I've observed men's choices to change. The younger generation of men, they don't like what we like growing up. That sexuality has changed. So with that being said, do you see a difference in the generations of men? Uh,
Say that one more
not
time. I'm sorry, you were breaking up.
I'm sorry about that. I was saying that by generation, every generation of men is into something different. Younger guys are into things that are different than men of my generation are into. With all of that being said, do you see the difference in men by generation as far as their
Yeah,
sexuality, things like that, preferences, desires, yada yada?
yes, but no. I feel like I see a lot of them are more open about stuff as opposed to the older ones like the same things and are just more closeted about it. You post on YouTube, right? So I don't know if I can say what I was going to bring up because I was actually going to do a podcast episode with one of my friends about um, ass eating.
I would love to hear some of these things because, in my observation, younger men like different things. Like I said, they kind of shocked me, surprised. And you're
Hmm.
saying that you think all men are. So,
Now, all now, don't get me wrong, because everything is not for everybody. But I mean, I
mm,
know I've talked to people and like men, for example, and I've had some like I've talked to some younger generation guys who are more open about it. Heck yeah, I like my ass eaten. But I've had some older guys who like that, but they want you to be hush hush about it because they are afraid that everyone's gonna think they're gay automatically.
because you eat ass,
Hmm.
you said ass eating.
Yes, but not just them eating it, them liking theirs ate.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think it's because again, it's gay because it involves the asshole. So older men are
I
just
hate that
terrified by it.
assumption. But no, I've met some older men who are into that. They just don't want everybody to know.
But younger girls like it more than older women, uh, and it's because of I think I don't want to say pansexuality, but the fluidity of sexuality. What I think is that men now they're more into androgyny. Like this equality thing is real. We don't. I don't think men of my generation actually believe that or conceded that. I think that we're a little misogynistic in our sexuality.
You guys
And
can be, like I said, a lot of people, again, especially in the black community, and as you get older, a lot of people are closeted. Okay,
yeah, absolutely,
don't trust everything you hear. Them people
absolutely.
be lying to you because trust me, they will be at trapeze or somewhere else doing the craziest stuff.
I mean, but I've had, women are more into that and comfortable with that now, where I've learned that that's a translation into oral for a lot of women. Because it excites them. Women like to, you know what I mean, do more, you know?
I mean, you have to, and I
Like,
like I say this on
because
my
I might hit a
podcast too.
Wi-Fi click real quick.
Yeah, I'm like you're breaking up. So I didn't like I heard a little bit what you said, but I mean, like even on my show, I always just tell people, everything, of course, is not for everybody, but I hate that society has dipped into so many people's heads that what they do for their personal pleasure is gonna make their sexuality question. That's outrageous. I just oh shoot. Okay, you getting back in your Wi-Fi. Yes, get back into that Wi-Fi. Oh shoot.
Can you
Okay, I
hear me
gotta get
now?
entertainment. Yes, I can hear you now. I was clapping for it, like he getting back into that Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I had to pick that Wi-Fi field up. Sorry about that.
Yes,
But I'm
that's
here now. Go
okay.
ahead. Um, I just think that that's definitely a difference in the generations. And, older men have a certain pride, maybe that they'll never concede. But you're saying in practice, they with the shits.
Yeah,
So
I feel like people, but I feel like people are just so, especially in the older Black community, are so undercover about stuff. It's like, for example, I had a conversation with somebody about I don't know if you're familiar with cucking. Should I
yeah,
be
I know what
speaking up
cucking
on?
is.
Okay, so I was having a conversation with the older Black
Oh
bull
no, I said yeah.
because
I've heard the term cucking.
oh yeah, so I was saying I was having a conversation with the older Black bull, and I was asking him like, do you mostly cuck with white couples, or do you have your like Black couples? He was like, oh no, like mostly white because mostly only white people are into that. I was like, I have met a few older Black cucks. So that's why I said I personally don't believe that people. I feel like people say a lot of stuff and
They
say, "Oh,
like
I
you.
would never," and then behind closed doors, they're doing it. So much crazy stuff.
Absolutely. And I think that the freedom to express themselves is greater now. And you might be
Yeah,
witness to that. Where it's not as taboo as we pretend or maybe feel it is. Um, ain't nothing new under the sun. Everybody been doing every freaky weird thing that's ever been thought of since before you got the
exactly.
idea. So I mean, I like, let your free flag fly, like whatever you into. It just is what it is. It's cool to hear about people winning. Whatever your little thing is, getting it and enjoying it is everything. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I just
I
really
couldn't,
wish.
like there's everything. There's so many things that I'm just not into. Boring. I'm a very simple sexual guy.
There's
I
nothing
wish
wrong. I
I
mean, do you try new
liked more
things
stuff.
though?
It's just I haven't experienced anything that's been great. I mean, I ain't had no new tricks pulled out on me no time soon, but I mean, I'm open minded for the most part. I don't like everything, but I like what I like what I get. I like what I like, and I have no complaints. It's just you know I'm boring. And I don't try to be self imposed limited, but there are certain things that just work for me. Good old fashioned, So I'm
I mean,
lucky.
and that's okay. I actually went to a educative lifestyle event like what was this last weekend, and they actually gave us I think the woman, she's a dominatrix, and she made this big booklet that goes through a different type, like a ton of kinks and fetishes, and partners can do it together, potential partners. And you could put on there like your hard limits, like the absolutely not, I'm not
That's
doing
dope.
soft limits, like maybe I'd be into it. And I thought, like, I mean, even for people who are not like into a lifestyle like that, I thought it was just an interesting tool and resource.
Yeah.
But there's something out
So
there for
what would
everybody.
you say is yeah, what area are you most interested in as far as your personal endeavor? Like what do you just enjoy working with the most? Do you enjoy working with multiple people more than working one on one or individual? Do you like your personal sexual journey that's lit, and you know what I mean?
So
Like where do you
far,
feel, yeah,
so
where
far,
do you
yeah, so
feel,
far in my
yeah,
journey,
where do you feel it's
I've
at?
been,
Like what are you into?
what am I into so far? So far for me,
Yeah.
I am exploring more areas of submission. I want it to be a switch, and I don't know what like kind of viewership you have.
Mm,
So a switch is someone who can go between being a submissive or a dominant. Um, but for right
okay.
now, I want to focus on more of being a sub, specifically being a little, um, which some people could call it age play. I don't really think of it as an age play thing for me, just because you see, I got on Hello Kitty all decked out, stuffed animals. Like this is just my vibe as a grown
I was
woman.
just about to ask you that.
Yes, I love Hello Kitty. I'm
So a
obsessed.
little, I thought a little was a part of a triadic relationship where you're not, you can't, it's not, yeah, it's like submissive. You can't participate like an adult, but you said it's not age play.
No, and like,
You're
and
just
that's the
not, you don't give submit, you don't give approval.
no, not at all. So that's not the case. And I mean, of course, everybody's
Uh-huh.
dynamic is different, but for the most part, littles like you'll have your dominant, and they're more of like a parental figure, like they're in charge. And it just depends on like how you live your lifestyle. Are you 365? Do you live the
Yeah.
lifestyle when you can? And I've had a dom before. Um, but we weren't really doing little play, so maybe in the future we can explore that. Um, but it just depends. Like it just depends. I mean, there are those people who like do littles where they like wear the diaper and the onesies and want to be a baby, but it's not really like people really get kind of fixated on the
I don't
oh
get it. It's
you're
like
trying like
cosplay.
it's almost like a cosplay. But like I know for me, like most people who are in submission, sometimes I just don't like to be in control. I mean, I'm adult every day. I'm paying bills. I'm going to work. Some days I want to be told what to do. I don't want to be responsible. So that's what I like about submission. I like letting go of
That's
control.
interesting that that counts as a little. That sounds like women. That sounds like a lot of women though that like the traditional gender role. Um, because that's really what the original gender role was. We treated women like girls.
Little girls.
Um, so that submission is a fantasy or a fetish now, but
And
that
there's
used
so
to
many and
just
there's
be
so
the
many like
way.
subgenres of submission that you can go into. I mean, just the little being a little is just like one. But there's so many acts of submission. And I mean
Mhm.
again, it's just like we were talking about last week in this group, it's all about intention. And that's what I like about like the BDSM and kink community. There's not all these gender roles and like harping on sexuality. There's really not a lot of there's not judge not a lot, not at all judge. There's no judgment. You can be hetero flexible if you want to. I mean,
Can you be attracted to someone who's androgynous and or
me
transgendered?
personally, me
Just
personally,
random question.
yeah,
Yeah.
I consider myself
Hmm.
pan. Yeah, I mean, I consider myself pan,
Yeah.
so I'm pretty open. I just
It's
vibe.
all
I
about
just.
pleasure. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
you
all about
mean in
pleasure.
that sense? Or you meant date? I thought you meant in dating. Like but yeah, in that sense,
Yeah,
yeah,
like I mean, no, I mean as far as dating, you said you're open to all.
yeah. I'm pan. I identify as pan.
Dope,
Yeah,
dope. So like you like the person. When you
yeah.
know when you
Overall,
meet the
just I'm just more
person
interested in
and
the
they're
person
right,
overall.
it is right.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
I'm more attracted to just who
That would
I've
confuse
dated
me
so
because
many.
like how can you be attracted?
What do you mean?
There's a lot of options out there. You've had a lot of ice cream, right? Like, as far as physical attraction, like you can like a tall man, I'm assuming, but you might
Yeah,
also
and
like a
see, like,
small
yeah, like the
woman,
height
or you
thing
might
has
like a
never
thick
gotten to me.
girl,
I've
or you
dated
might
tall
like a
people,
fit
short
guy.
people. Yeah,
No,
I don't. Yeah, no, I can't. Like I said, I dated tall. Like when people say like they hate short men, I like short men. I like tall men. I like thick men. I like little men. I don't really
that's
fixate on
dope.
that. Yeah, I just like who I like. I'm Ray Smurr. I ain't got no type.
So so physically, you experience and appreciate all the variety, physically, with gender, probably ethnicity, everything. Like you like different skin tones,
Now
like
wait a
you
minute.
into all the
Ethnicity.
flavors.
Hold up. You went too far. Ethnicity. I listen. What they say? Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. Everything black. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry. I mean, I've no, but that wasn't a dating experience,
No,
so
I
I
ain't
take
mad
that
at
back.
you.
I ain't gonna even throw it out. I'm sorry. Did you say? I'm like I didn't hear.
If we change it.
Huh?
No, I thought you said that you had one off experience you had that wasn't. Uh,
Yes, one person, but it wasn't a dating experience. It was something else.
oh, okay, okay,
Yeah, little threesome
okay.
action. I don't know if I can say that on YouTube.
But yeah, on my channel
Oh, it's a
we
go
have an
for
open
a.
forum. We talk about a lot of different things.
Okay, I have to be careful. I'm like I don't. I've never posted on YouTube. I only post on IGTV and on Apple and Anchor and Spotify. So I be saying whatever. I mean whatever. So I just wanted to
Right,
be careful.
right. Me too. It's HBO for me. That's why I had to switch to the vlog because I'm trying to, tell every story authentically. So no, feel free.
Okay.
A threesome action was going on, and you said it was a one off. You didn't like it.
No,
That's
no, no. It
cool.
wasn't a one off. That was saying that was
I
the
don't
only
have any
time I've
cool
ever
stories
tried.
like that yet.
No, that's the only time I've ever been with somebody who was not black.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And was it so? It's not even a positive or a negative. It was just
No,
kind of
it
like,
was
yeah, it
fun. I
happened.
had a good time. I had a good time. It was an Asian lady.
That's
It was
cool.
yeah. She was fun though.
Oh,
I
okay,
mean,
okay, yeah.
yeah, she was fun. Just a random story. It was my first time going to a swingers club. Oh my gosh, such an experience. Have you ever been to swingers club?
I've never been actively to a swingers club. I think I accidentally went to one.
Accidentally?
Man, it's a long story, but I was with somebody, and I think we had gone to one. There was just nobody there. Um,
Ah,
so like we had either missed the party, got there early, or whatever. But I don't know how I would feel if I went to a swingers party, especially with somebody I was into. Like, oh man, I would be jealous.
really?
Um, and I wouldn't be able to enjoy it because I wouldn't be looking at everybody like that. I'd be focused on making sure, like
But you don't. You
nobody's
know, if
looking
you
at
go,
mine, I
you don't have
guess.
to
I have
participate.
the
There are
wrong attitude.
voyeurs. There are people who are into being voyeurs. They just like to watch.
I've
So
had friends like that.
really,
I've had friends like that. Like I said, I've never like actively, yeah, females. I've had friends like that. And I mean, it's a lot of women that like to watch all the whatnots going on, and they need an audience. Some of these people, they have like their own entourage, and it's wild. It's like a whole lifestyle, which I'm all for. You know what I mean? Whatever you like, get into it. But I don't know. That's
that's all. I always tell
if it's
people when they
something
go
that's mine, I
to be
just get a
very
little
mindful and safe.
territorial.
Say that again.
Of space,
Uh-huh.
yeah, because I would be uncomfortable. I'd be really, really uncomfortable. And then I don't know if it's the ain't no fun if the homies can't get none, but you start thinking about yourself and why you ain't doing this to me. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to put myself in that situation.
I feel
It'll be
that.
too embarrassing. Like, you know,
I feel that. No, I feel that.
right? Like, you don't want to bring some chick that's like, yeah, yeah,
Well, you got to be careful. Like, I'm not gonna lie. So the first time I went, I hooked up with this Asian lady. Okay, so I had just moved to a new
hmm,
area. Okay, and I'm out partying. I'm having a good time. So I meet up,
all right,
crazy, crazy, um, with this guy and this girl, and me and the guy are still good friends. He's a really nice guy. Um, and they're like, "Do you want to hang out with us?" Because like my friends were
nice,
going to this like club, and I was like, like I mean, I'm young, but I'm getting pretty old. I don't like going to the club like that. I like to go to a bar. Okay, I ain't trying to be in all the riffraff. So
I'm young, but I'm getting old.
yes, I don't like to be in all that riffraff. I don't trust these youngins. You know, they be out shooting and stuff. So I meet this couple
Right,
at the
right.
event that we're at, and they're real cool. They're like, "Well, do you want to come out and have drinks with us?" So I was like, "Sure." So they're like, "Oh, meet us at this club." So we go to this club, and it's two sides. So I go in, and there's a side that has a bar, but they have all these wooden statues of carved penises. Interesting. So yes, I have a picture. I have a picture till this day of me hugging a penis. It's hilarious,
Ridiculous.
really ridiculous. But the bar is so fun. We're having a great time. There's a pole in there, and just I mean, it's a mixture of people. So they tell me they're like, hey,
Nice.
this place on the other side is a
Okay.
swingers club, and I was like, dead ass, and they're like, yeah. So the place that we were at before they opened the club for play, they give you a tour and they talk to you about the swingers lifestyle and they educate you. So I was like, I want to go on the tour. And they're like, let's
Mm,
go. So I go on the tour with this couple, and
right.
so we keep chilling. Like we after the tour, we're chilling and we're talking. And they're like, well, do you want to go over there? And I'm like, hell yeah. Oh, you didn't know who you just met.
Right.
I want to go. So we go over there. I mean, it was a ball. This place had a
Wait, you don't
dungeon.
know who you just met. Who did you just meet? The president?
Huh? Oh no. Trust me, we were safe though. We were safe.
I said you said they said
No,
you
they
don't
didn't know
know
who
who
they
you
just
just
met.
met. Who did
Oh
you just
yeah.
meet? The
I don't think
president?
they knew that I was that wild. I think
Oh,
that was
okay. You was the
yeah.
one taking over.
Yeah, because I was like, I want to
Okay.
go. I want to go. And of course they were down for it. We had a lovely time.
But then they had a dungeon.
Oh, they were it was awesome. You had all different races in there, and this place was really safe. They search you down, so no phones. Okay, your privacy is protected. Can't nobody be recording you. No
Mm,
phones. No recording of any kind. They search you
hmm.
down and pat you down. I mean, to the T. But they have a dungeon. Oh my gosh, they have a
That's cool.
cowgirl room. This place was amazing. I mean, there's at least the state
It
I live
sounds
in.
clean.
Yes, and there are some dirty ones. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are some dirty ones. One of the
Like I
podcast
said, I
episodes I'm
went to
working on.
one. We was on a road trip, bro. And we just bounced into because I was trying to get gas, but I think the freaky place was right next door, and it smelled like cigarettes and old ski. It was horrible. So I'm glad that you went to a clean environment that was inviting and conducive to these activities.
Listen, I harp on that so hard. I just did an episode about threesomes. So I was talking about
Mm,
that, about swingers clubs being an option. And I just did a review because I went to a club not too long ago in the area I'm at right now. And people were telling me
yeah,
about it because this has a rooftop pool and it looked really cute. I go
yeah.
and like me and the person I went with, we got our IDs out. We are ready to make sure, like, show them we are of legal age. Why did the man tell me? Oh no, 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 we keep it simple here. You just pay. It was like, what the like? You don't want to make sure we grown
It's like a
ups.
fee for admission, like a amusement park.
So all of them have a fee, or you have to be a member. All of them
Ah,
usually. Now I have been to one sketchy one where they had no fee and never went there again. I'm just pretty particular because I
because
mean
that's a little
again
scary.
safety because you want to be safe, especially being. I mean, me as a single woman, I don't usually go alone, but you want to go somewhere safe. I like places that have security. That's important. Like the place I was talking about that I first went, they have security. I don't trust any but where doesn't really have security. Like this place I went to where they didn't check ID, they had security, but still, that's already a little sketchy to me. You're not checking IDs. You don't want to make sure the people coming in this club are adults. You know what I'm saying? Like to me that those are still things that are important. I mean, and it gives me we had fun, but well, let me say we had
Right.
fun, but we only stayed for like an hour at this club I'm talking about. But
But
you
you be
know, just
getting the right peace of mind when they check IDs and
yeah, especially
everybody's
and
thorough
especially
and
like
so
you'll hear single
professional.
women who talk about like how you'll have like just lurkers, and most places are really good about single men. No offense to single men, but they usually can't come into like play areas. They can be observers, but that's about it.
That's the thing about being married is that it puts you in a distinguished level. You know what I mean? For a lot of different things. So absolutely.
I mean, I hate this because I mean, all single men, of course, aren't bad, but you have those who are just lurking around and
Right.
being, not being really respectful. At the end of the day, you got to be respectful of people. I mean, come on now.
And that's probably why everyone does feel invited to play because it is a safe zone. It's a safe space for the most
And there are
part in the
rules.
right
If you're really like, it's
circumstance.
like the BDSM community, the swinger community, they have rules. It's not just a free for all. They
Right.
have rules on a normal basis. I mean, now don't get me wrong, everywhere they may not go by them because, like you said, you don't been to a sketchy place. I don't been to some sketchy places, but for the most part,
Right.
overall, they have rules. It's not just like
I'm just scared of the lifestyle because, like I said, it's so easy, I think, to fall into it because the options are endless. Um, but I love that you're navigating, having fun, and things are on a positive note. For anyone that's interested in getting into it or getting more information, where would you direct them first? Would you tell them to go in there? Where would you direct someone to go first?
to get more information. FetLife is a good
Yeah.
source. Especially like FetLife youth for swingers and people who into BDSM or want to learn more. They have like you'll find groups in your city or state that have events. Um,
Mm,
go to a club one night. Like I said, most of the upscale normal like a normal not sketchy clubs are gonna have an area where there's a bar and you can just relax and talk and get to know people. Um, Another
right.
website I found out about is called SDC.com, and that's more swinger based.
SDC.
SDC.com.
SwingingDickClub.com. What
That's
is
what I said. Listen, when I went to this club the club I was telling you about like 2 weeks ago or last week, they didn't check IDs. This lady, I was, having a drink vibe, and this lady's like, I want to give you this shirt and this bag. I mean, literally a cute little crop top, and it said SDC. So I told her, I'm like, is this the fucking dickclub.com? What is it? So I went online. There was actually a resource for swingers. There's another website called Goodfellas, and the O's are
mm,
zeros. That's more black, a
okay.
more black center website, but they have a lot of events and stuff. There's so much stuff, especially depending on where you live. I live in a state where it's a lot of shit going on.
Yeah. Which
So
is cool. Which is cool. That's what I'm saying. If anybody is interested, they're looking for the resources. I think that's a couple websites to get you
yeah,
started. Um, the
Kinkley. I'm sorry, I'm just
polyandry
not
thing
going
is
on.
taking over.
Kinkley
Say it
is a
again.
great site. Kinkley.
Mm.
So I mean, that's a good site to find a lot of different kinks, fetishes that you might be into.
KINKLY.com.
Hmm. Yep,
Okay.
great source. And like I said, for the poly thing, Ethical Slut, I think Ethical Slut is an amazing book. Even if you're monogamous, I think it's an amazing book to read.
Do you know who writes Ethical Slut?
The Ethical Slut is by shoot. It's easy to find though. You're not if you type in Ethical Slut right now.
Hey Alexa, who wrote Ethical Slut?
The Ethical Shit's authors are Dossie Easton, Janet Hardy, and Catherine A. List.
Yeah, there's a few people.
Them. Check them out. And then where can people find you, keep up with you? Because I think you've been a wealth of information. You've been
Oh, of
great.
course. Um,
Yeah.
you can follow me on Instagram at Syren SYRENVTHEE_stallion.
Hmm.
And I have my podcast link. My podcast is called Shit SH with the exclamation point T. Siren says, and it's on Anchor, Spotify, and Apple Music. So
Definitely got to check that out. Shit Syren Says podcast. Get it in your ear. Continue to listen to Modern Black Man podcast. Follow
Yes.
our vlog. Check her out on Instagram. I appreciate you so much. I gotta have you back again. We gotta coordinate that.
Let me know. I'm down. I had a great time.
Yeah, you know it. I promise you. I appreciate you so much. And until the next episode, peace.
Bye.